Kenneth Branagh directed called Frankenstein.
Yes.
And I did a lot of preparation on a lot of work for the whatever you want to call it, the monster or whatever.
Of course.
I had these. The walk was a certain way. I wanted to create something sized too. So in those days, they used to have these kind of like plastic things. They were like half a I don't know what you call them, concave type thing. And when you'd walk on them, they'd bounce like this. So you'd step on them and you'd walk and they'd give you height. And they were like some gimmick for exercises or something at that time. And I said, let me get those, put them, get those things and start walking and using those. Stuff like that. I did a movie called Flawless, and I was supposed to be, have a stroke. So I found ways of hanging weights on my left arm so that it would be more immobilized, and anything to physically change me without my having to make it happen without that actual impediment. Things like that.
You didn't scream about it though, did you?
It could be anything, any kind of thing to pull me out of myself and into that character the way I thought or the director thought it would be.
Did you have to do any water polo training for Meet the Fuckers?
Me?
Meet the Parents, is it? I can't remember which one it is. You have to play water polo. Any training for that, for water polo? You're very good.
Not training, I don't know.
God, man. It's volleyball in water. Please get a life. Sorry. Sorry.
You're natural.
Huh?
You're a natural.
Whatever. I mean, there's some things I've forgotten about. I forgot what I've done.
What's that?
Which movie do you miss filming the most?
Did I miss?
Yeah, just being on the set of, or yeah.
I had a good time.
Being filmed live from my living
We
room.
always have a good
Robert De Niro and some man on a chair.
easy way we get there. I had a very good time on that film, and I had a good time on About My Father too. A tighter schedule, more immediate, if you will.
Didn't hit with the big wigs. You hit with the big wigs, didn't you? They're all at Lords.
And
Cricket.
also Killers of the Flower Moon.
Baseball. Tom Hanks.
But even more.
Life is not just a box of chocolates.
Do you feel like you're getting better at what you do, and if yes, how do you do that?
What was the last part of the question?
Do you feel you're good at what you do? Excuse me.
That's a good question.
It's personal.
I think you get more confident as you're older, and you realize certain things are not necessary to get from A to B.
You go to Andre Road, didn't you?
Waste as much energy on that. And the most important thing is to be relaxed and never anticipate things. Just let them happen. Like certain scenes or emotional scenes. I don't think about it. It's the old joke of, you all know this joke, I'm sure. Hark, I hear the cannon roar. You don't know this joke? This actor can't remember his lines, and so they finally people don't work with him anymore. But he runs into an old friend of his as a director. Says, "Look, I'm doing a play, and
you've done Shakespeare, yeah,
3 acts, and
what Shakespearean stuff here? Hark, I hear the cannon roar.
He said, I don't know. I'm afraid I can't.
You've seen me at Rochester.
I said, don't worry, you're going to do it. It's okay. It's in the 3rd act. All you do is you run out the beginning. You hear the explosion. You run out and say, "Hark! I hear the cannon roar." The cannon roars. So okay. So he does. He rehearses. He has it in his dressing room. He has "Hark! I hear the cannon roar." Hark, I hear the cannon roar. Hark! I hear the cannon roar. Hark, I hear the cannon roar. There's all the different ways it could be said.
Look, please, can you get out of my Chippendale sofa, please? All right.
First act, second.
Chair, Ellen. Chair.
Gets ready, stays around and says, "Get ready, okay."
Don't they think you need to decorate it?
All of a sudden, he's waving in the wings. All of a sudden, it's time for him to run out. He hears his cue, runs out onto the stage. Boom! Turns around and says, "What the fuck was that?"
That's it, dilute them with a bit of comedy so they feel comfortable. Thank you. I'll have a drink now. Yeah.
I'll go back to this side. I think.
Go on then. Go on.
Just here, gentleman I met in the foyer earlier.
Thank you so much for coming today. You've had so many iconic quotes throughout your career. I was just wondering if you had a line that stayed with you or a favourite line from any of your films.
What was that?
You've had so many iconic quotes in your films that people quote you on. I was just wondering if you had a favourite line from any of your films.
The what?
Favourite line, favourite quotes from any of your films that you've made.
No.
Oh God, how many films has he made? Don't do this to me. Everyone says that, don't they?
Ones you know to me sometimes. Or they say it to me. I say, no, I don't know.
Perhaps you find it too disturbing to think of Awakenings.
Once a person said to me, "Are you talking to me?"
No,
I said, "You're the only one here." No, I just said it.
When you're not acting, producing, or directing, what do you enjoy doing?
Well, the last couple of years, I've been, I have my kids and my personal life and all that. That's really takes a lot of my time, obviously. But I've been watching a lot of television instead of watching old movies, or even current things that I should be watching. Been watching a lot of the news, a lot of what's happening, especially when Trump was president. What
important.
insanity we're living in. So
no wonder it
that's
sends
how
people
it's-
crazy. Who's to say you ain't
There's
gone completely
some
mental?
Personal friends and some of my kids.
That's all method acting.
Were you in New York during the pandemic?
Yeah, New York.
Was you really? Jesus Christ.
Hi, you said earlier about going to auditions and hopefully getting lucky, and I wondered what you think was your lucky break and how much of acting is based on luck as well as hard work and obviously talent.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you help
in the right place at
find
the right
Sylvester
time
Stallone?
helps. If you're there
Rocky,
and they're
Helen.
casting a certain thing, and
When was that made?
you happen to be there and right for it, that takes some luck. That happens, I think, with actors. What you hear about is that, say, there's
The
an
funny
actor
thing
who-
is, right, I'm going to say
That's
it
why I
personally
don't
now,
be afraid
right?
to take
All
a
these
chance
young
with- for
people,
readings.
not one of them has a
You might not
mask
have-
on, and I
If the
understand
spark
why
looks like
you
won't
don't.
get it,
But I
you'll be
don't even
recognizing
see
people, and
anti-bac
eventually
gel
people will
on the
talk
table.
about you and say, "That's an interesting actor, they do this." So they'll want to see more of you. And and that you work hard, you keep
Focus.
you keep on it.
Mm.
And that's
Don't jump the gun.
what I would say.
Mm.
Make sense?
I don't know, as you get a 9mm.
Hi, you've spoken quite movingly about the dangers of people
Oh, there's one with a
thinking
mask.
or
Brilliant.
being unthinking, and some of the roles that we've discussed today, like The Irishman or like Taxi Driver.
Oh,
you,
Taxi Driver.
really,
Fucking excellent.
Evocatively
Sorry,
portray
keep
these people
swearing.
who struggle to articulate their
Just 'cause,
thoughts or why they do things.
that's a nice
I wonder
scarf
what,
you've got on behind.
appealed to you about those kinds of roles.
It's a nice woman.
Well,
There you go, then.
I-
my gnome.
they're more interesting in a way because you see,
Your hands.
they're not
Toy.
more complex.
Face.
Say that. I mean, everybody who read Taxi Driver, me, Marty, Paul wrote it, Paul Schrader, but Michael and Junior Phillips,
Paramount.
everybody was taken by the script. I
Mhm.
remember when we
Lizard. Well done,
we
Helen.
do it. It was a script
You
we all
now
wrote.
have an alligator in your tank. Make a wish. I've never been to
And it's interesting,
Cambridge,
even
thank
in
God.
that,
I've
and
been
you can
before, yes, to
identify
see the
with
War
Travis
Memorial.
character,
Right.
the alienation I'm from New York,
Vietnam.
born and
You've
raised
seen
in the
it.
village. I can identify with the alienation.
Mm.
So it just something about that story, that script that Paul wrote, Paul Schrader. We
Paul
wanted to do.
Schrader, Martin Scorsese, Paul Schrader.
I don't know if that's really answering your question, but it's
Getting there. Making them think. Yeah.
I'll just ask a quick question. So, like,
Look, I have NVQs, you know.
There's another defining feature is the sort of Italian-American link in a lot of the films you've done, and you're, from New York, strong Italian-American culture in New York, and it was interesting listening to talk about the research you did before The Irishman into sort of the mafia and things like that. So have you become a bit of a sort of amateur expert, if that's not a contradiction in term, about culture, mafia culture, those sorts of things?
Try coming to Clacton on Sea, you might wake up. Sorry.
When,
yeah.
when did that start?
Well, I had when I was a kid,
Sorry.
I spent a lot of time with Italian American.
You have to be nice to this man, okay? He's a lead speaker.
And so it was interesting because he and I weren't in the same crew, if you will. We stood at, as you say, in different blocks, different areas, but we had some
Coming to
mutual friends who
America.
go between the groups, and they tell us what they're doing, back and forth, and that was it. So I had that experience.
You choose not to discuss.
I don't think it really has. It might have some connection to why Marty and I work together so much, but it's like I don't really. Part of it is, most of it, or at least 50 or 60%, 40% is other stuff, our own coming together and what we want to do. Because he was more religious in a way, and everyone almost became a priest. My own
There's the
life,
speaker's
not
chair.
that way, but we came together as
There's the speakers.
creatively. We always just had
There is
a way we have long talks
the
about
tiger.
stuff. Like if I was, if there was a scene that we were about to work on, I'd say, well, this reminds me of something I
I have
went
the
through.
tiger.
It's not the same, but there's some
To be
parallels
preserved,
here.
not
And use
eradicated.
that to kind of, for this
Survivor.
scene, this particular incident, this particular moment. So in that way, we had. I remember having a lot of very good conversations with him.
But like if it Godfather, Casino, Goodfellas, The Irishman,
Casino.
is the reason that you picked those roles because of the Italian-American connection? Is that why you did them?
Yeah, I mean, I liked them, and they happen to be, yeah. I guess they are, but if they're written well, if they're done well,
People think about them more and appreciate them for different ways.
by being done well, I mean written well, created well. So yeah, I like to do them. I understand what that is, so I like.
Because the second Godfather you do almost entirely in Italian, isn't it?
It's Sicilian.
Yeah, Sicilian.
Yeah, subtitles.
My question
exactly.
is, do you feel like the film industry has developed in a way where it's more focused on sort of special effects, spectacle, rather than character-driven plot?
Yes,
If
that's a
is that
good question.
problem?
You're talking about the big sort of, yeah. No, I think I have not had much experience in those movies, so I don't. There's always a way to get character or get things that are which the actors who work in them do.
You knew that people would think about the Penguin for Batman.
Answer the question. You sure?
No.
Woman in the
Sorry.
glasses, yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. You're a great source of inspiration to a lot of young creatives like myself. I was just wondering what you think the future of the film industry looks like, and if there'll be a growing
There's
obligation
another mask.
for
Brilliant.
directors to be providing social commentaries and stuff like that.
But what was the last part of the question?
If there's a greater
What's that?
obligation for directors to be providing social commentaries or critiques
You mean of the movies that they made?
of the general world and like the political happenings.
I'm just not sure exactly.
No, it's so long-winded, man. They're over in burst with public school shites.
No, there's no obligation. Maybe you say it for
Sorry.
your work in some way.
It's
if you're
depressing.
more of the
No, it's
writer,
not. It's positive.
I guess,
Okay.
and the actor, director, of course. No, there's no obligation. I say stuff because I don't really like to get involved in that stuff, but I see that it's such a crazy state of affairs that you have to say something. It's crazy.
It sort of connects to that one of the question we had earlier though about separating the art from the artist, I suppose. Do you think it's more difficult for actors and directors to not comment on what's going on in the world, and is that a bad thing? In the past, we wouldn't have had criticisms about people not saying something about something in
Politically
social
correct, gone mad.
circles. They're just making
Not necessarily.
Yes. I think.
Health and safety.
I mean, I would say that again because I'm trying to. I mean, some people will make comments politically about stuff, or others won't, and that's their right. I mean, it's just what you feel and what you see before you, and if you have a platform, if you will, and you think it'll make a difference, it could. Then you say something.
Go get my dog,
That's
man.
what I feel. Nobody's obligated to do it.
Yeah, and just one last question on that. Is it important that we preserve the space for artists?
Hey, come on, Bandito. Come on to mummy. Go into the chair, please. You're easier to control than a Don.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Please,
do think
thank you. I'll
people
get you some
have
water
to
in a
say
moment.
stuff, though, at the same time. We're getting to a point.
Good boy.
Sorry. Exactly. Yeah. You have to say something. Nobody expects.
Bandito.
You know,
Good
it's
boy.
like,
Boy.
Leni Riefenstahl was a great director of Sword, did a great thing, but she worked for, and that's a stigma that she had. Period. Sorry. Walk away. Do something. Don't be part of the problem. Be the solution. Because if you're not the solution, you're the problem. And that's a classic example of it.
Thank you. I was just wondering, as we mentioned all afternoon, you've been involved in some incredible iconic roles through history, through the movies. Some of them, you know, stand the test of time and will be there forever. But was there any role that you would have
Please
loved
mention
to
the
play?
weight then, so
Excuse
you
me,
too
but
upset
you
to think about it.
logistically or time-wise didn't have
Is
the
it too
opportunity
meaningful
to
to
do it.
you?
I don't want to say regret,
Don't
but you would
understand.
have thought, actually, I would have quite liked to play that role.
I wasn't sure.
Any role that you couldn't play for whatever reason, logistical, or you're doing other projects that you really wish you could have done in hindsight?
No, I've been okay, pretty lucky with everything. I have.
That's it.
There are a couple I wish I had done, but I'm not losing sleep over it. I just it was unfortunate that I couldn't at the time, but there wasn't something that would have been the end all and be all. Because if it
Mr.
was, I would have
Gennaro,
found a way
it
to
is
do
an
it.
honour
I like
to
think.
welcome you into my living room.
Thank you for being here.
You can
with
have a
us
cup of
today,
tea as
Mr.
well.
De Niro. Big
No, I
fan.
like coffee.
So I was actually recently watching one of your movies, Silver Linings Playbook, and towards the end of the movie, you tell Bradley Cooper's character that there are moments in life where life reaches out, and if you don't reach back out, it's a sin. So were there any moments in your life where that happened, where you felt life reaching out and you might have had reservation, but you felt you had to reach back
Stay
out
here.
to life?
Shh. Sit down. Sit. Get under the chair.
I
Please.
guess. But
Sit. Good dog. I'm talking to
I
you.
either can't remember them. I don't want to remember them. But there's always something, I guess. I always like to think that I did my best, but everybody likes to think they did their best.
Hello, thank you for coming.
More
today.
masks
I was
going
just
on.
wondering,
Check.
You've done a lot in your career and a lot in your life, and I was wondering if
Please, young
you
people,
personally,
please wake up.
what's your greatest achievement or professionally?
Well, on a personal level, my children. On a professional level, the movies that I got a good amount of recognition for. and I'd like to think for the right reasons. You know, I guess that's it. You know, I have a couple of projects coming up that I really I'm looking forward to doing.
I need
They're
to
gonna
read more
be
books,
special.
more.
Also, I'm thinking now I'm getting older. You know, and that's what The Irishman too is about. So those are things, you know,
Keep mentioning The Irishman.
you're always aware of time. So, but I always like to think that not all my movies, but some of them will be recognized for being very special. And that's sometimes what I would think and say, like Raging Bull with Marty. It's not about, we're going to do something. If I know anything, I know it's going to be special. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've mentioned the role of luck in acting before already. Now, you've been very successful in your career, but many actors struggle to make a living. So, given that risk, is it actually a good idea to become an actor? Would you recommend it to anyone?
Nah, that's a good one. Bandito, no.
You're basically asking would I recommend to be an actor to anyone? Was that?
Yeah.
Of course, I would. If that's what you want to do, the main thing is you have to really want to do it, and don't assume that you're going to be successful at it. But I do feel that if you work very hard and you're serious
Maybe I should
about
go
it, you
for
will
an
have
Ellen. Honestly, Ellen, right, if it's not round the corner, don't go and meet the gift dogs in the mouth or whatever it's called.
And that
I know Raging Bull.
should be
I am a
satisfying.
Raging Bull when I get annoyed. Bandito,
What that would be.
good boy, come here.
Theater,
Come and have a cuddle.
theater, and especially here in England, and movies, television, whatever. I mean, it's just a matter of
Just go up north
committing
and
to it.
through the
What
cliffs.
you really want to do.
Or go west to
So I
Ireland.
could never say, like to any of my kids, never be an actor. In fact, one of my kids studied acting, then went into computer technology, computer science, and now has split it in his college stuff and did postgraduate computer. But he is thinking of acting too. So, but he has something that's real to fall back on. You always hear about the parents, get a real job, then you can do it. I never said that. I just was lucky that one of my kids did it on his own. I'm very proud
Thank
of
you.
him.
Thank you. I can be your daughter, so I in-law step, never removed Helen,
No.
just admit it. Alright, we're not even mates.
Right. Who's there? Anyone?
You've not mentioned
Yeah,
Awakenings. Do you want me to keep mentioning it?
Yes, you mentioned Paul Schrader earlier, writer of
Of course,
Taxi Driver.
everybody's going downhill.
Obviously, you've all mentioned how you've worked with Scorsese a lot, but you've worked with a lot of Paul Schrader scripts as well, as been the film he's directed. And you clearly, have an attraction to a lot of Paul Schrader scripts. I was just wondering what it is that attracts you to his writing, or if you, I know you're good friends, or if you get on what he's like, what your relationship with him is like.
So Paul, what attracts you to Paul's writing, and what do you like about it?
Well, in Taxi Driver, it was a wonderful script. As I say, we all felt that way. Paul and I are friends, but we don't hang out together, so we respect, he also, as far as working together, Marty had him, because originally with Raging Bull, I had this idea, well, I'll do it as a one-man kind of a show on Broadway or something, and then I'll do that at night and shoot it in the day, and that way I will have kind of rehearsed it and had it down more in certain ways, and we proposed this to the studio, and they went along with it. I'm sure they weren't happy about it, but now we have to spend money on this play, and then, and then Martic Martin, originally, who's passed away since.
You'd tell me to go for the first sight, wouldn't you?
And co-worker of Marty's.
If I actually wrote that and kept off the art in an independent art dealer for an art house, the most interesting points are like the Green Door,
Anyway, then Marty
Way
just
Out,
got
Way In.
Paul Schrader to
Select your
pull the
audience
thing
carefully,
together
Helen.
and give it more of a structure.
Mm.
For example, there was a third character, the friend, besides the brother, and Paul pulled the friend out and made it just between the brothers. And then Marty and I went away to an island in the Caribbean for a couple of weeks and just worked on the whole script, just pulled it all together as far as just
It's okay.
once over again, and and that was it. So I don't know if that's really answering your question, but anyway, that's sort of.
Toy.
So you say Paul's a friend, but you don't hang out.
No.
Who do you hang out with?
Ah,
Apart from Tiffany.
she's just explained it.
I have active friends who you don't know, people.
Yeah, preferably.
Try me.
And other friends who are not actors who you don't know.
As someone who's worked with some of the greatest scripts in the industry, what advice can you give to aspiring screenwriters?
Just write what you feel, and then the only way that you'll be unique is not writing what other people expect of you, especially if it's a formula type thing. Even if you're dealing with a lot of cliches, it doesn't mean cliches aren't real and good. I'm being kind of abstract in saying this, so I want to be careful. You know, the most cliche thing is the baby being born.
Shut the door, dog, all right? Get the lighthouse out of the way.
People dying, people getting married. It's just how you do it and how specific you make it and how you make it your own from your own experience. That's where you're going to excel. You know, that's where you're going to stand out. Hopefully, just always be true to what you want to feel. And then
Thank you for lending me your Chip and Dale chair. I really appreciate it. It's all right, Helen, I've shipped it across New York for you.
the relationship to the world is,
Yeah,
why they're
it's
doing
not
what
funny.
they're doing. It's not easy, but that's the ideal.
You carry on.
I know this is a little different, but Bradley Cooper, who did the A Star Is Born, I thought that's one of the
Exactly the
best
same,
ways to work. He worked on the script, he worked on his character, he directed, he did all these things. He spent all that time, and I thought that was a wonderful movie, very, very special. And he's going to do a movie on Leonard Bernstein now, the same thing. I said, there's no better way to do things than the way he's doing it. He's doing it all.
Or not.
And it's a real commitment, a true commitment.
You never talk much about religion, do you? Paul on his pan on him. That's what he likes,
There's a saying
Bob.
that you should never meet your heroes for fear of disappointment. I think looking around the room today, we can say for sure no one's disappointed. However, I'd like to ask whether you have had heroes who have disappointed you or others who have surprised you in the most exhilarating way.
Judge Dredd was a bit of a letdown.
I've had heroes. They haven't disappointed me.
Did you like Venom? Venom was quite profound. A superhero, but an anti-superhero.
All actors, most actors that I know,
Dealing with a wife that's dying and a girlfriend.
He's a great actor. He was nuts. But he was great. You know, he did a movie that I did, and the director said, "I'm thinking of using it." I said, "Okay, great." You know, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's no problem. But we all loved him, and you know, it was predictable. Certain things would happen.
Well, my brother even wrote to you to come visit me. What? Really? I don't think so. I keep remembering lots of people,
that I say, well,
especially Spider-Man climbing up a window. You wanted to let your children in there?
No, I'm not disappointed. Why should I expect more from him than I can't even get from myself at times? You know, we all have, you know, he did great things as an actor and as a person upset about the state of the world. So, you know, that's it. I don't, there of course probably are people who you don't really know whether you expect them to have
Parker
done
and
something
Robert.
more, and they made a left turn
Bob.
or a right turn.
Bob and Bob.
And they could, yes,
Got
there
new name,
are some
Bob with
people
a
I'm
no.
sadly disappointed about. And yet I understand their predicament. And I don't know how I would act in that situation. One is Kazan.
I'll just stick you back on the video,
the
okay?
House Un-American Activities.
Okay. Thank
he
you.
named names, though he said those names were already known, but that doesn't matter. He was a king, and he was so well respected and loved.
King
I've
Lear.
worked with him. I did his last big film, The
Not
Last
necessarily Macbeth.
And he was as good as everybody always said he was,
Night.
but I always felt
Midnight.
terrible
No,
for what,
come on
for
then.
what
You know more.
that decision.
Summer Dream, something like that.
Whatever, however he
It was actually a
justified
comedy
whatever it was.
with a
And I
horse's
can't say
head.
I don't know what I would
Ah.
do until that time comes.
Mm.
That was
Appreciation of literature.
Sadness.
Plays. Macbeth. You always remember Macbeth. Or Boyle, Doyle and Trouble.
Question, and I'm not going to ask the last question today, so we'll finish with a good one, maybe two more. Serena. It's going to be good.
Oh God, no pressure. Thank you so much for coming. I just wanted to know everything that you've achieved in life. Are you really
Cambridge
satisfied
Union
with
Society.
the world, or is there
Virtual
more
reality.
things
As real happening in Helen's room in Cambridge.
I think, well, you're never satisfied, and there's always a problem, always something to overcome. There's no such thing as, I think, well, if things would be easy, they'd be easy, then what? There's always a problem. There's no way around it. That's my life, you know. It's,
age comes with
sometimes problems
experience.
need to be created in order to solve that problem. It's
Trees
one that
and
has to be
roots.
addressed finally, though it's always been
Cypress.
lurking there somewhere.
Have you got a dog?
Before. It's time
I'm not
for it to
telling
come.
you, I don't want it to be short.
Okay.
I won't ask you to do the impression.
Not one asked person, or one person asked about her.
The impression?
Yeah, you're talking.
Yeah, right. Okay.
The chap in the purple hoodie.
It's filthy. Please get the cleaners in. For fuck's sake. Look at all these young people looking up to him. Bob. It's brilliant.
So I think it's about artificially resurrecting dead actors via CGI. You have a view on that?
Well, it helped in Gladiator slightly, didn't it, really? For God's sake. Who are we talking about now? Oh, shit. Bullseye. Ray.
That's something that I'm looking into.
I've got to stop you.